Now let's talk about the biggest storylines of the bowl season so far. And I think what we got to talk about is number 6, Georgia, destroying number 5, Florida State, 63-3. Georgia has been ridiculous in these bowl games of late. I think you got to take it back about 3 years for the last time that Georgia saw a team score more than 21, not named Ohio State, in a bowl game against them. And you can take it back to last year's national championship game. Yeah, that wasn't close. 65-7 against Texas Christian. In this game, 63-3. However, this game was not like the national championship game because we had opt-outs galore on the Florida State side. We had a few on the Georgia side, notably Brock Bowers among them, right? But that wasn't the story of the game. The story of the game was just how bad Florida State got beat. And even Kirby Smart went out of his way to point out everybody needs to see this game and see what the opt-outs and the transfer portal have done to the bowl season. Like, in a big bowl, by the way, Orange Bowl is a New Year's Six game. Like, there's a time when everybody wanted to win the Orange Bowl because the Orange Bowl would decide who won the national championship. Now, we're talking about with the expansion of the college football playoff, we're talking about teams that don't get in and how they basically check out for the rest of the season and how that product looks on a football field. And that's what you want to really protect. You want to protect the integrity of the football being played. It is the foundation of credibility. If we don't have good football being played, people are going to stop watching the football that is being played, okay? Always and forever, we're going to talk about the quality of football. Even Tom Brady in the NFL was talking about, I don't see good quality football. I'm like, hey, dog, hey, chill now. Them pros too now. And he's like, well, I'm the best that ever did it. Fine. But does the bowl system need an overhaul is really a question that we got to answer. And I'm going to answer that one. But I'm also going to point out Florida State showed up, man. Like, I understand there's no Johnny Wilson, there's no Keon Coleman, there's no Trey Benson, there's no Jaheim Bell, there's no Jordan Travis, there's not even a Tate Rodemaker. But they did show up and they did play. And under the worst and hardest circumstances you could. Like, this blowout reminded me a lot of Oregon playing Georgia in Dan Lanning's year 1. That was a real gut check. That was a wherewithal check. That was a, do you have the respect for yourself and respect to the game to keep going out there and trying to make plays? Are you Steve Rogers putting up your hands going, I can do this all day, as you're getting absolutely ragdolled? Like, I learned a lot about the integrity of that Florida State football team, and they earned so much respect from me, even as they were absent more than 450 starts and 130 of this season's 286 starts. This was the first worst loss that they had suffered since 59-10 Clemson in 2018 and 49-0 Florida in 1973. But again, I look at it this way. These dudes answered the question, can you be perfect? They were perfect. They went through the entire regular season without a loss, and then they won the ACC championship without their starting quarterback, and they were penalized for it. They were told they weren't good enough, even though there's no loss for them in 2023. They also showed what I try to tell everybody, especially about the job that I get to do. Hard work does not grant success. It is the barrier for entry. You have to bust your behind to get an opportunity, even a sniff at an opportunity. And even then, people will close the door on you, and do frequently. You have to be willing to fail at this. They showed what it looks like when somebody does fail at this, okay? You didn't do enough is what they'll say in the regular season. You didn't win by enough. You didn't look good enough. You lost a quarterback. Okay, sure. When nobody gave them a chance, they still showed up to play and still won these games. Fate was predetermined by others, which, you know what, is the reason why I envy you if you're a Florida State football player on this 2023 season. Because we know forever this wasn't about you. You got to show, hey, look, I am what happens when you give everything. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. You know that I'm fond of talking about Greek mythology, and I have Aristeia tattooed on my forearm because it is a gift from Athena. You have to be willing to die in battle to get it. Matter of fact, you have to be dead to get it. And if she chooses you, yeah, you get to wake up and vanquish your enemy in that one battle. It's a gift. But it is her right to pass you over if she doesn't want to give it to you, which means you're just there, giving all you have on the battlefield, and that has to be enough. We tell these kids that if you work hard, good things will happen. This was a case in which that was not true. So if nothing else, let's be honest about this. Let's tell the kiddos straight up, hey, you can be perfect, but that doesn't mean we're going to pick you to play in the national championship game, and let them play with that sort of fire and that sort of fury. I'm envious of Florida State because they got an opportunity to do what I think life is about. They got an opportunity to stand and fight, even as they didn't really have a chance to win. That will forever move me because it's the hardest thing to do in the world, to show up knowing that you're probably going to get your ass kicked and put your hands up and say, I'll be here. I came to work today. A lot of people don't come to work today. So for the kids that did show up, please understand, there are adults in this room, adults across the country, that are so moved by what you did because you chose to keep up your end. Next year, let's see if you can do a little bit better. Let's run it back. See if you can go undefeated, even as I might be picking against you again. I might think that your schedule's watered down again. Make me eat it. That's what I tell the kiddos. Make me eat it. If you need to show up in my Instagram DMs and tell me off to get you going, you do that because I want you to win. I'm on your team forever and ever. And Mike Norvell is doing his best to try to put them back in this position because nobody is more pissed and angry and sad than that man because that's his football team. He recruited those dudes, just like he has recruited DJ Uiagalelei to help them build back the roster that can win a national championship in 2024, or so we think. We'll see. Now, the thing about DJ Uiagalelei choosing to go to Florida State is he's going to need some help. As I mentioned, a lot of dudes went into the NFL draft. A lot of dudes went into the transfer portal from this Florida State football team. But like everybody else, they have an opportunity to go into the portal and try to get some guys that can help him at the skill positions. But we also need to add in here, DJ Uiagalelei came out the same year as Bryce Young and was the number 2 player in the 2020 class at his position. Okay? 5-star quarterback. Shows up at Clemson, backing up Trevor Lawrence, and then has a great game against Boston College, has a great game in a loss to Notre Dame, chooses to go into the portal a couple years later after Cade Klubnik comes off the bench to basically lead Clemson to another great season. Transfers to Oregon State. And at the time, I'm big on this because I'm thinking Oregon State is the Iowa of the West Coast. They are a quarterback away. And turns out they were a little bit more than a quarterback away in 2023, but they were right there in November fighting for a chance to play in the Pac-12 championship. However, DJ Uiagalelei has yet to live up to his 5-star billing. It's a guy that has not thrown for more than 2,638 yards in any season, and it's a guy that has thrown at least 7 interceptions in every season that he has had multiple starts, okay? I think you need to continue to develop him. Mike Norvell has something far from a finished product in DJ Uiagalelei, but he's got all the tools, man. And if you can hone those tools to a package that works for him, you could end up back in the college football playoff for the first time in over a decade, especially with the expanded field. I take a look at what Tommy Rees was able to do with Jalen Milroe, a quarterback he had to bench following a loss to Texas. And it's more or less, hey, we whittled the playbook down to things that Jalen Milroe does well. If you could do that at Florida State, you have a player in DJ Uiagalelei. Again, you got to get him some help. If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.